What's up, guys? Got a knife review a long time coming. Probably had this knife longer before I featured it on the channel than any other knife. Um, One of the reasons is we've been moving and getting ready to move and things like that, but uh, another reason is that I wanted to carry it a while and really get to know it because it was one of my favorite knives I'd ever had. I wanted to find some flaws with it. I had a hard time doing that. But anyway, we're talking about the Spyderco Subvert. I love this knife. And of course, the biggest reason is because I love big knives. I'm a big person. I'm 6'6", uh, you know, 200 plus pounds. Big knives fit me. These huge knives are not intrusive in my pocket. I have big pockets. I have big jeans. This knife right here just speaks to me. I will tell you that one of the things that I found that I didn't care for is, and I didn't think it was necessary, is they put a slight recurve in here. And I don't know why they did that. I don't think it was necessary to accommodate this knife. There are some knives that have recurves that are kind of cool. They put a pretty severe recurve in there, and that can assist with cutting and things like that. But I'm not a recurve fan. I have some nice sharpening equipment, but I still struggle with sharpening to a point to get it to where I want it to be. Yeah, I just didn't think they needed to do that. The other thing is the scales. If you'll notice, there's some darkening in the grain, the false wood grain, where I tried to dye these scales. I watched a few videos on it, boiled them in RIT dye, and it just didn't take. I had it in there about 5 minutes, which is what I saw. I think Nick Shabazz do it. It just didn't take. I chose not to do it again. I've had several people tell me to use vinegar, leave it in there longer, and things like that. But I saw some finished products of some things some guys did, and actually they said I was using the wrong RIT dye too. I needed to use, I think, a synthetic RIT dye. But I decided I didn't dislike the orange as much as I thought I did. So I decided to leave it like it was. But man, this thing has huge, thick titanium liner lock. I mean, this is one thing. When a knife is this expensive, and this knife is expensive, and they're all pretty much gone, you can't really buy them new. Haven't seen anywhere they're discontinued, but nobody has them new. It's S30V, which, same disclaimer, there's nothing wrong with it. But to me, it's creeping closer to a mid-range steel, upper mid-range steel. When you're charging premium prices for a knife, give me at least the very minimum S35, which some people would say they're the same or whatever. But I like CTX XHP. I don't know why they don't use more of that. I did hear that it's harder to find. They don't have as much of it because it's used for so many different items besides knives. But another thing is, this is running on bearings, which is not a huge demerit, but the blade has so much weight to it that it just doesn't need to be on bearings. I mean, you could put this on phosphorus bronze washers, and this is from the Tai Chung factory. They build knives on phosphorus bronze washers all the time that are just wonderful. I mean, this knife here, Sleech Bowie, is a perfect example of what they can do with phosphorus bronze washers. But it's not like I'm going to be super hard using this knife, but I will use this knife harder than I will any of my other high-end knives because it's built to withstand it. It's not going to show a bunch of wear. I love that big flat tip on the front. That's great for scraping. The knife is just beautiful, man. It has the appearance of the proprietary hardware, but it doesn't. It uses the Torx. I like, a lot of people don't like the standard shiny Spyderco pocket clip. I like it. I'm a big fan of it. Overall, this is just a cool knife, and I'll put some size comparisons to kind of show you where we're at on the size. This is another monster Spyderco, and it's just a little bit bigger, the Spyderco K2. Let's see here. This is let's put it beside a paramilitary 2. This is a PM2 Blade HQ exclusive copper.
Gil Bradley. A lot of people have the Gil Bradley. Gil Bradley is a great knife. If you like Spydercos, you need to own a Gil Bradley. That's a shocker. I mean, you will be shocked at how much you like that knife once you relieve the spring tension a little bit. Put a super knife up in here. The Marfione DOC. And one more Spyderco Shaman. So, sorry, I have a little bit of a allergy cough today. This knife gets a ton of pocket time. That's another reason it didn't get reviewed. It was always in my pocket. But this knife will stay in my collection. It's a permanent fixture in my collection. If you have the chance to pick one up, and two caveats: if you don't like big knives, you won't like this knife. If you don't like thick blade stock, you won't like this knife. But it comes down to a pretty nice point. It's not super thin behind the edge, but that's not hugely important to me. I'm not slicing tomatoes. I'm cutting open boxes and sacks and things like that, working out in the yard, and it works perfect for me. This is a great knife. I use this knife regularly. It's in my regular EDC rotation. So, Spyderco Subvert. Check it out. If you like big knives, you'll love this one.